Hi everyone, this is Christine Josty of Mail Something Pretty, and today I wanted to show you a floating gatefold card. So the gatefold part of the card is when you have your card that opens up like a gate, right? Like that. And the floating part, I'll show you. So here's my gate I'm going to open up. And the floating part are these pop-ups. Isn't that fun? So this was a project we did with my club this month, and so I know there's a few of you in club watching this to see how to put yours together. So here you go. I'm going to show you, and I'm going to show everyone. I'll give you measurements so that you can do your own as well. All right, so you're going to start with a regular 5.5 by 8.5 size piece of cardstock, and you're going to score it. And for the club, yours is already done. This one's actually already done too. But you're going to score it at 2 1/8 right here. And then you can either do it again at 6 3/8, or what's easier, just flip your paper around and do 2 1/8 again because it's symmetrical. Okay, so you have your two scores. So this right here is what's called a gatefold. So that is just a nice fancy fold right there. But we'll leave those floating pop-ups in there. Okay, and so then the next step I did here is I used the wood embossing folder. I was thinking kind of like a gate. And so what I did on this one is I cut it at, let's see, 5 3/8 by 4. I ran the piece through the embossing with the embossing folder through my machine, and then I cut it at 2, so I got 2 equal pieces. If you are going to use like designer series paper or something else, the measurement for each panel is 2 inches by 5 3/8. And you can play with that a little bit. A lot of times I do my border at 5 1/4, but I wanted the border here to kind of be symmetrical all the way around. So that's why I did it a skinny border. Okay, and I will put these measurements on my blog as well, mailsomethingpretty.com, so that you can refer to them as well, because here are my directions. So that might not make any sense to you. Okay, so I'm going to put these panels on. And the reason why I ran it through together and then cut it so that I know that these, for this particular folder, that my lines are going to line up. I didn't want them, it's like, you know, when you have mismatched stripes. So this is that new snail, new seal. And so the trick is when you pull it down, don't just lift it up, you just kind of rock it forward and it breaks it. And so then it's really sticky. So then it's ready to use on the next one. If you have a little trouble, see, there's a little, you just kind of roll it forward. I know some people are having a little difficulty with it, but I like it. So I'm going to open up my card this way. I think it's easier for me to tape on my panels because it is a really, excuse me, a really skinny border. And I'll do the same thing. I just want to make sure that my lines line up. Do it this way. Okay, so there we go. So that's that. So now we're going to work on the inside. All right, so then you need these. The person I watched who did it, she called them little arms, but we're going to kind of create these little squares so we can kind of make that pop up. So these measure 1 by 4.5. So you need 2 of them. So 1 by 4.5, and you're going to score them at 1 inch, 2 inch, and 3.5 inch. And again, I'll write those down. And so you end up with a square, a rectangle, and a square on both of them. So for hopefully this makes sense. I kind of did these ones because we're going to hold them in slightly different directions. So the top one, we're going to hold it as a square from the left, square, rectangle, square, square. And then we're going to flip it on the bottom. So I'll leave those there for reference, but hopefully this will make sense. So I'm going to put this one on here for the top. And so I want to look at, from the left, I want a square, a rectangle, a square, and a square. And I'm going to put some adhesive, which I have right here, the A, on that first square. Oh yeah, see, mine got gunky because I didn't lift it up. And you can, it's up to you if you want to line it up to the top. I like to pull it down a little bit. And if you have, I'm just putting the same size on here as it's the same width, the inch. So there is room, you could have it top. But if you put like an oval or some sort of shape, just make sure that it fits within the width there. All right, so I'm gonna leave it like that. So my sticky stuff is right here, and I'm just gonna close that panel. So it looks like that. I'm gonna fold these two squares back. I'm gonna put adhesive, and so that's where the adhesive goes here. Okay, so it's attached on that first one. I fold these two back, put adhesive on the last square, and then I'm gonna fold that closed. And I think that last step is really important. See, and then you get your square, because I could have, if this was attached, I could have, you know, figured out how to line it up. But when you want it in an envelope, and you know when you close that it's flat, and we're gonna close that one, it's gonna be flat, you know that it fits in an envelope rather than trying to figure out where to put it. I hope that makes sense. All right, so for this bottom one, we're gonna do kind of the opposite. So now I want, on the right side, I want a square, a rectangle, a square, and a square. So I'm gonna put the adhesive on this first square here. I'm going to put it about where I had it on the top, make sure it's straight, and I'm gonna close this side. So then that pops up. And then I'm gonna fold these two back, just like we did before, put the adhesive on the last square, and then close this. So then we get our two little pop-ups, or our, what did they call it? The floating part. So that's kind of the basis of the card. Oh, and I forgot to do something. That's okay. I meant to stamp a sunflower. I wonder if I could fit it. No, I'm just gonna leave it blank. If you want anything stamped on the inside, do that first before you put on your squares. And here's another sample, because I showed this to my daughter and she's like, well, where are you going to write in the card? So you can write here, you know, your little message here, or I did on this one, I did this as a birthday. I just wrote on the bottom panel. So I'm going to be sending this in the mail. Okay, so these are scraps. I actually didn't really, I measured the inch width because I wanted those the same, but the length I'm just gonna trim because it depends on what you stamp. And I ended up liking these two stamps that came with the Sunshine Box Paper Pumpkin Kit. I just think it looks nice with the sunflower, the smile, a little something to brighten your day. So it could be, you know, hello, thinking of you type of card. So I already have them on blocks. Grab my pad here. I'm going to use Mossy Meadow. What is a smile? And a little something to brighten your day. Good. And then I'll just take my paper trimmer. You could do them with scissors, or the trim is pretty quick. And just kind of eyeball. And that the only thing to bear in mind is, and this actually happened to be on this one, you don't want one of these strips to be any wider than where your fold is. So I actually had to trim this one when I put it on the card. You know what I mean? So like if this was wider, then I wouldn't be able to fold that closed. So I don't know what I have a ruler. I can tell you, don't have it any longer than, say, this is 3 1/8 inches. All right, and then how we put them on, and for the club members who got this, you'll just have to pick your own stamps because I couldn't send you stamps in the mail. You want to put the adhesive on that rectangle, because if I put it on more so, like if I put tape on this whole thing, oh, this fell apart. If I put this on the whole thing, and then there'd be some sticky stuff, and when I closed it, it would just stick to the card. So it's better to put the adhesive right on the rectangle. And then because this is the same width, it's easy to line up. Just like that. Okay, oh, no, it looks so naked in there. I'll have to think of something to put in there. This one, just so you know, so these were inch wide, same as my little arms. This one, because this stamp was wider, I did 1.25 inches. I don't know if you can see. So it just overhangs a little bit. So I did the same width on this one. There you go. So you can play with it. It doesn't have to be the inch. It doesn't have to be the same thickness. All right, so we'll just finish this off real quick. I have my sunflower already pre-done here. And this is from the, if you like the sunflower, the dies that go with the Celebrate Sunflowers. And I did them in, the base is, I think it's crushed curry. The crushed curry in Bumblebee are really close together. So I'd actually say you only need one. Crushed curry is a little warmer. All right, so I'm just going to put 2 dimensionals right here. So I did crushed curry, I did soft suede, and early espresso. And then for my leaves, I did Mossy Meadow and Old Olive. In case you were curious about the colors. And then I'm just gonna put a little glue, just kind of stick them under. And oops, a lot of times I like the leaves to go like on opposite sides, but because this opens, and you could, but then you would see, you know, if you had a leaf stuck on here. So that's up to you, not if you wanted to see that. So I just did it all on the same side. Okay, almost sticky. So there you go. I'm going to show you this one though, because it has a sunflower inside. That is a floating gatefold card. So thanks for watching. Club members, have fun putting them together, and I will see you on the next video. Be sure to visit my blog at mailsomethingpretty.com for lots of other cool ideas. Thanks. Have a great day. Bye-bye.